Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a really deeply paradoxical concept. We've all been conditioned to believe that we absolutely have to stand out, right? That we need to be seen and constantly make our presence known to the world. But today we're going to completely flip that script. We're going to look at how embracing a kind of strategic invisibility is actually your ultimate superpower for finding unshakable inner peace. Think about this for a second. Have you ever walked into a crowded room and suddenly become intensely aware of, well, literally everything about yourself? The way you're walking, the way you're talking, suddenly you completely forget what to do with your hands and you feel like you've never walked normally a day in your life. In that moment, it feels like the entire world has stopped just to watch you, judge you, and analyze every single little detail. You get stiff, awkward, and completely unnatural. You just start overthinking every movement. So let's jump right into part one, the glare of the spotlight. We really need to tackle this exhausting mental prison of self-consciousness head-on, because it's the exact thing keeping you from living freely. Psychologists actually have a name for this, the spotlight effect. And get this, studies show we overestimate how much people notice our mistakes by up to 50%. It's this false belief that you are standing right under a massive, bright spotlight while an audience evaluates every single slip-up. But here is the profound truth of the matter. This paralyzing self-consciousness, it isn't actually created by the eyes of other people. It's created by the endless, frantic attention you are placing on yourself. You've basically become your own harshest critic in a courtroom that literally only exists in your mind. The great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius understood this centuries ago. He used to remind himself that people are just far too busy with their own lives to spend all day thinking about yours. Everyone around you is carrying their own insecurities, fighting their own emotional battles, and hiding their own fears. When you stumble over your words or make a minor social mistake, people move on incredibly quickly. Realizing that nobody is watching you as closely as you think isn't a demotion at all. It is actually incredibly liberating. That brings us to part two, the fragility of external validation. So why do we care so much in the first place? Well, when we obsess over that imaginary spotlight, we're basically handing our self-worth right over to the outside world. Just look at how we build our identities today. So many people unconsciously use external validation as their daily emotional fuel, chasing likes, seeking constant compliments, begging for social approval, and just desiring unwavering attention. But building an identity on these modern addictions makes us incredibly profoundly fragile. If your self-worth is tied up in those things, then being ignored suddenly feels like a total disaster. Just one negative comment has the power to absolutely ruin your entire day. You effectively become an emotional slave to public opinion. So how do we fix this? It requires a simple but really profound shift in focus. Think about it. The insecure mind is constantly self-monitoring, always asking, how do I look? How do I sound? But the free mind asks, what can I contribute? How can I genuinely connect here? When you shift your attention outward toward the present moment, the conversation or the task at hand, your social anxiety instantly weakens. You stop performing and you finally start engaging. Because here is the harsh reality we all have to face. The outside world is completely unstable. Some people are going to love you, some are going to misunderstand you, and some will dislike you for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with you. If you tie your inner peace to trying to control everyone's opinion of you, you are guaranteeing yourself a life of constant, exhausting anxiety. Which leads us to part three, building your internal fortress. To escape this trap, we have to make the Stoic pivot. We move from relying on that completely unstable outside world to cultivating an unshakable internal stability. The crucial takeaway is perfectly captured by Marcus Aurelius when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Emotionally strong people don't go around trying to manipulate how everyone perceives them. They just accept that judgment is completely unavoidable. Instead, they focus entirely on mastering their own mind and their own actions. Ironically, when you stop shaping your personality just to get approval, you actually begin to appear far more naturally confident. And when the outside world does inevitably reject or ignore you, here's your actionable Stoic response. First, just ignore the indifference. If someone doesn't value your time, walking away isn't being petty, it's a firm statement of your high self-worth. Second, detach emotionally from the rejection. Let the sting happen, sure, but don't let it anchor your thoughts. And third, reinvest your energy directly into your own personal growth. You literally turn the rejection into a redirection. Now, this kind of redirection requires discipline.
And discipline creates quiet confidence. When you do difficult things like waking up early, working out, or frankly, just keeping the simple promises you make to yourself, you rebuild your self-respect. And when your internal self-respect is high, external validation becomes entirely unnecessary. You don't need to loudly announce your value to the room because you already feel it internally.
All right, let's look at part 4, the strategic power of silence. This kind of internal confidence fundamentally changes how you interact with the world. Withdrawing from the noise isn't a sign of weakness. It's actually the ultimate psychological power play. Imagine two people being insulted or totally misunderstood. The reactive mind instantly panics, raises its voice, over-explains, and just desperately defends its fragile ego. But the Stoic mind? It creates a space between the stimulus and the response. It pauses, maybe smiles slightly, and responds with complete control. Remaining composed when emotions rise projects massive inner strength. On the flip side, the desperate need to constantly explain yourself, that just signals deep instability. Strategic silence is incredibly powerful. And to be clear, it's not about being cold, numb, or manipulative. It's about protecting your inner peace from chaotic individuals who are absolutely determined to misunderstand you anyway. It demonstrates profound self-mastery. Because look, anyone can explode impulsively, but holding back, that requires real discipline. Furthermore, in a world where everyone overshares every single thought instantly, your restraint creates a natural curiosity and magnetism. It absolutely ends your emotional slavery to public opinion. Always remember this: value does not need constant advertisement. Think about luxury brands for a second. They don't scream for your attention or beg you to choose them. Their value speaks quietly. Deeply grounded people operate the exact same way. They don't panic in conversations or desperately fight for attention. Their calm presence commands respect before they even open their mouths. Let's wrap things up with part 5, the freedom of invisibility. All of this builds towards the ultimate relief, finally leaving behind the exhausting, performative mask we all tend to wear. When we fear the spotlight, we pay a massive psychological cost. We end up carrying like 10 different personalities, one for our friends, one for our coworkers, one for social media. We face constant, grinding exhaustion just from managing our public image. And honestly, the saddest part of all is that we slowly abandon our real selves just to avoid being judged. We become quieter, less expressive, and less alive simply because pretending all the time is so mentally draining. But the moment you accept that being misunderstood is just a part of life, boom, you become free. Authenticity creates peace precisely because it removes that incredibly heavy burden of pretending. True confidence isn't about becoming flawless or never feeling awkward again. It's about becoming completely unafraid to just be human. It's about accepting your imperfections and living honestly. It's realizing that losing people while being real is far better than losing yourself while pretending. So I want to leave you with this final thought to reflect on today in this explainer. The world really does not need another fake personality trying to impress everyone. Will you spend your life exhausted, performing for a crowd that is ultimately too distracted to even care? Or will you finally stop apologizing for existing, let go of that desperate need for validation, and embrace the quiet, unshakable power of being invisible?